Hello my friends, and welcome back. In today's live programming video, we're going to be doing a little bit of work on Satounki. Satounki is a temporary elevated access management solution which companies and teams can run as a self-hosted service. It's also known as just-in-time access management, but I thought this was a more official sounding description than just-in-time. Satounki is written in the Rust programming language, and you can see that there are some Go and Typescript files here as well, but you may not know that the majority of these files are actually generated from the Rust. And I really like this project. I really like this project, not just, you know, the temporary elevated access management, but I like it as a Rust project because it's, how do I put this? It's a really great example of how if you use Rust in the right way, you can just 10x your productivity, right? Like, this project also comes with Terraform providers. The vast majority of that is automatically generated from Rust code. It comes with a TypeScript library that we'll probably use in the future to write a Pulumi provider, generate most likely a Pulumi provider. And, you know, again, this is all generated from the Rust types. It's really, really cool, and I'm really excited to start working on this code base in front of people. So I open sourced this 3 days ago on December 4th. I've done a little bit of work, some dependency upgrades, added a Nix module, did some macro refactors, but nothing that has significantly changed anything since I open sourced with the first monster commit. So what I wanted to do today, what did I want to do today? So, all right, let's see. We have a common crate with all of the request types that go in and out of our API. So this is the policy type, for example, and you know, it's a struct that encapsulates a Satounki policy. And then you have these macros down here. You have the body macro, and you have the response macro. So I wonder, is this gonna... Oh, it did. So anything you put into the body macro, so I have here, this says that it's a put request on the policy root, and the request body is a new policy struct type. So how did I do that? So here we are. What this is going to do is it's going to create wrapper new types, right? So here is the root name, here is the method, and here is the type, right? Put policy, put request. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm not sure why it's doing it twice though. Recursive expansion, maybe it's a recursive thing, but I know that it's, if it were actually getting generated twice in the code, Cargo, Clippy, one of them would stop us. Post request, post request. Huh. IntelliJ Rust. Oh, okay, I think this is IntelliJ internals. Basically, you can't have two structs with the same name in the same file, so we know that's cool. But now I want to know. I guess cargo expand probably won't work from Windows in WSL. I don't know, I've never tried it. Let's see. So that's what that does. And we can look actually at the definition of this macro. So it takes the HTTP method, the kind, yeah, this ain't happening, and the return type, and then it creates a new struct which wraps that return type. And this is really useful, especially when you are generating code to be consumed in other languages. So all of this, of course, gets generated, but it gets generated with those wrapper types. So here we have the Golang API wrapper, right? And this is a get function. Maybe if we look at the post function, it's a bit better. So here we have policy post. Cool. Then we have policy post request. And then we have policy post response. And these are still kind of going back to the same thing, right? In the Rust. They're going back to this one policy. But I find it a much better way to write API clients in different languages when you have clearly defined request types and response types. So that is what the body macro is doing. That's what the response macro is doing. But it's all right, but it could be better, right? I think it could be better. So what I was thinking was, wouldn't it be nice to have just a single macro where you didn't have to declare the bodies, the requests separately? So that is what I did. And we can take a look at how that works in the common platform crate. Let's take a look here. So I created this root request response macro. And what this does is, again, it takes the HTTP method, it takes the root, it takes any potential request body type, and any potential response body type. So this is going to be a root like /company. It's going to be a put root. The body is going to be conforming to the company struct type, and what is returned from the API is also going to conform to this. So if we go over to the API code and look at company, what we're actually using here is these wrapper types, company put request, company put response, which are both wrappers around this. And of course, again, when you go to the generated Golang API, here we go, and you take a look at, for example, the put request, you have company put request, company put response. I think it's very ergonomic, it's very nice, it's very pleasant to work with, and I hope that's the case not just for me, but also other developers that will integrate with this in the future. I know that I would like to integrate with I would like to integrate with a project organized like this, so hopefully others will share my enthusiasm for this way of doing things. So we're using that, right? We're using that in the common platform crate. We want to use this also in the common crate. So I'm gonna get Bacon running here on the side. And yeah, why don't we start? So pretty much everywhere we find the body macro, that's where we want to do something. That is where we want to do something. So I guess we start in request alias. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff in here. Maybe we don't want to start here. Maybe we'll go to the next one. Yeah, this seems like a nicer place to start. So, did that run correctly? Yes, it did. So we have the two separate macros, but instead we're going to do, what was it called? Root request response. And so on the post root, we're going to post this to request policy. and it is going to take a request. It's going to take a policy request object, and it's going to return a policy request confirmation object. And we're going to see if this works now. So like, it looks like it is. So even though this is an error, it's an encouraging error. The name request policy post request is defined multiple times. That's actually what we want, right? Because we haven't removed these. So if we remove these now, everything should go back to compiling as normal, because the macro should be doing the same thing. And it is, and the only warnings that we have are for these imports that are no longer used. So we'll get rid of those. And we are back to green. How great is that? Here we have a response. So the way this works, so with a GET request, you don't typically have a JSON body attached, that kind of request. Some APIs do, you know, I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's not that nice to work with. So we'll modify this a little bit here. I think that is right. So if I save this, I should get that same error. The name requests get responses defined multiple times. So we remove this macro here. And now we just have the warning, which we can get rid of by removing the unused import. Roles, I don't think we use it here. Settings, I'm pretty sure we use it here. This is quite a meaty one. We'll come back to that. We'll do the low-hanging fruit first. So we're going to do, once again, root request response. And let's start from post. So we're going to say post to user aliases. The request body is the user aliases struct type here. It's going to be an object of that. And the return type is going to be also user aliases. So that's one. We also do the same thing on the put request. And you can see the multiple definition errors coming up. That's what we like to see. So why don't we take these away? So we have some responses in there as well for the put and the post, right? So before, this was just generating the body part, the request part, and this was generating the response part. Actually, to get rid of all of those duplication errors, we need to remove them from both, because both are now being handled in this fancy new macro of ours. And then the last one is user aliases get. And we should be good there. Yeah, and we just go on back here, remove those unused imports, and on we go to the next one, user roles. Same thing. So we have generated user roles, user roles post request, user roles put request, user roles post response, user roles put response. So we're gonna bring these out into here. So user roles is gonna take a vec of access role, and it's also gonna return that vec of access role. So we can get rid of this here, we can get rid of this here, and for the GET request, we will just get a vec of access roles again. Ooh, did not like something here. I hope I'm not going to have to do macro debugging. Error while trying to match. So, is it just the post? Huh, it's all of them. What is going on here? When we take a look at user aliases and copy from here. Sometimes I find it's better to just copy because, yeah. So we're going to change aliases to roles. That didn't work. Aliases, roles. And that's working so far. So user roles should return a vec of access role. Are we okay with that so far? Yes, we are. This is also returning a vec of access role, and this is also returning a vec of access role. And so this should be the last bit. Maybe, yeah, my macro is not set up to to do that. So why don't we do some macro debugging? So Rust declarative macro ident type. So I think that is ty. That should actually probably be a type. I think. So it's not an identifier, actually, it's a type. Are you okay with that? Oh. Let's see. Otherwise, I mean, I can wrap it as well. It's not a big deal. There we go. So the issue was that here I had said the request is going to be a ty, which is a type. No, wait. Let me go back. Before I said it was going to be ident, which is like any kind of identifier that you can, I guess, use as a variable name. That's how I understand it. It might not be 100% accurate, but that's how I conceptualize it in my brain. And so, like, when I write macros, I default to ident until I have a need to bring in something more, more fine-grained. Like in this case, you know, the type is actually a type, and the return is actually, well, I got it right here. I didn't get it right here. Anyway, that is done, and we just need to go back up now, and, ooh. Yeah, that's all looking good. Unfortunately, IntelliJ is not very good at keeping up with macro magic. But it's okay. I know what I'm doing, mostly. I mostly know what I'm doing. So we're once again doing root request response here for user status. And this is going to take no request body, but it is going to return a user status. And we'll again do a little bit of cleanup. And here we have a get and a put, but the put does not take a body. Okay, so root request response. And and neither of them take bodies, but they produce responses. Nice. We got it. We got it. The last is for the WebSocket. I don't think we need anything here. No, we're good. So we'll go back to we have one in policy. We can do policy. Yeah, we'll do policy. So we can do root request response. We'll start with the put and the post. So if you post a policy, you get a new policy back. If you put a policy, you get a new policy back. And if you get a policy, presumably by ID, you receive a policy back. And if you get policies, you receive a vec of policy back. And let's see. Yeah, you can see here you have policy put response, policy put request. I'm not sure why it's doubling it on IntelliJ, but as we've seen, it's not actually doubled. Interesting. Something here has changed. Something here has changed. Alright, so let's go back and see what changed. And let's get this here. So why don't we start with the gets? The gets seem like they shouldn't give us any trouble. I was reading my macro wrong. Okay. So the body macro says that for the policy root, you take a new policy argument. We didn't do that. We did it the other way around. So with both post and put requests, the API is expecting a new policy object, and it will return a fully formed policy at the end of the HTTP request. So it looks like that is good for us. And we just do our regular cleanup. And then request alias. So we're producing a body. Ooh, this one, yeah, this one is tricky. So why don't I bring this down to here, so they're next to each other. In fact, why don't I just bring this down to the bottom, because I think once you've seen a couple of these, the expectation is that the macro invocation should be at the bottom of the file. So we'll do root request response, and so on the So if you patch a request alias, you have to give it a request operation, and that's not gonna return anything. I think that's right. And if you get a request alias, you're gonna get the request back. Let's try that. Oof. A little bit uncertain, but we got there in the end. Sweet. Now, I think the rest are all in the settings file. And these are the settings for AWS, for GCP, for all of them. So we'll keep them underneath each type. So here's the AWS one. We will start with put and post. So, oops. Whenever we put and post, the type that we send in the request is a new AWS account type. And down here we see that the response that we get from the server is a full AWS account on both of these. Can't forget my commas. And so here we have the defined multiple times error, which is what we're looking for. So we remove the puts and the posts. And should be compiling again. Yes. And then let's bring our get requests. And you know, I quite like this syntax because I feel like it mirrors the function syntax, right? Of Rust functions. You have this would be the function name, which is the root. This would be the function argument, which is the get request, and this would be the function return, which is the response body. I think it's nice. So why don't we actually just copy paste this a little. So I think here AWS can be changed to Cloudflare everywhere. I think that's right. We'll see. The compiler will tell us. Yep, that looks good. And we should be able to do the same thing for GCP project. So Cloudflare account, GCP project. Yeah, that looks right. I think that looks right. And then finally, we will have a root request response on both of these. Very nice. And that, my friends, I believe is everything. So to validate that, in order to validate that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove the response macro and the body macro from the common macros library. And then the remainder are for generating Terraform resources, I think, and mapping Rust types to Terraform types. The Terraform framework is kind of weird. It does not trust the Go type system at all. It implements its own type system on top of the Go type system, which I don't know, doesn't speak very highly to me of the Go type system. Alright, that looks good. That looks very good. So why don't we start wrapping up? So I'll run just thumped. And this runs all the formatters, all the things. It's gonna run thumped and clippy from cargo. Making sure everything is compiling as expected. Very nice. I just want to test the code generation again, so I'm going to run just gen. And so this runs the generator package, exports a whole bunch of types, and then those types are further used to generate the Typescript client, the Golang client, and of course the types in the Terraform providers. And that looks good. So let's just start with selectively going through. So actually, you know, one thing I would like to do now while we're at it is to just align, what is it? Root response, root request. Oh my god, come on. Request response. And what I want to do is I just want to make sure everything is lined up, because it should be lined up, otherwise I'm gonna go nuts looking at it not lined up. I keep forgetting when I hit escape to exit insert mode on IntelliJ Vim, it actually takes me out of this pop-up, which is not great. Okay. Nearly there. I mean, I can't be the only one who's like this, right? Who likes nicely indented stuff. Yeah, it makes a huge difference to me psychologically when I look and everything is nicely formatted and ordered. Okay, that looks great. Let me just grab a quick drink. One of the things I didn't realize before I started recording videos is how dry the throat gets when you are... Ooh. Oh my god, did it undo all of... No, it didn't. Okay. What was I saying? How dry my throat gets talking for half an hour at a time. Okay, all of these are looking good. Yep, and everything is neatly lined up as well. That is what we like. That is indeed what we like. Alright, looking good. So, now it is time for us to craft a commit message. So, I guess this is technically a part of refactor macros. So let's say git cz refactor macros, use root request response uniformly, and we can push that. And one of the other things that I wanted to call out, right, is that, okay, wait, let's nix shell, let's get Tokay. Tokay is something that counts lines of code in a project. So right now we have like almost 13,000 lines of Rust code, and you would think, right, that would take a while to compile. Hey, that rhymed. You would have thought that it would take a while to compile. However, since we are using the magic nix cache by Determinate Systems in our CI, oh my god, that one took 40 seconds? That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my god. But yeah, basically, when you have a clean build, the clean build takes around 9 minutes. But then the builds using the magic cache around 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 40 seconds. This I cannot believe. That is insane. I guess everything was cached, right? So there were no core dependency changes. And okay, I guess this one is not going to be 40 seconds. We made a lot of changes, but yeah, it's still pretty darn fast. And I'll quickly show you all. I actually have a video about this on the channel. This is the magic. So after you run the installer action, run the magic nix cache action, and you should be set to go. Are you gonna do it in under 2 minutes? Are you gonna do it in under 2 minutes? Aw, I really hope it does. 2 minutes ago. We're not just gonna sit here and watch. We're not just gonna sit here and count the time. We will wrap up. We will wrap it on up. So my friends, if you enjoyed the inner workings of macros and how they support clean API design in Satounki, where is it? Here it is, Satounki. Please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe so that you can see more Rust programming videos with me, both on Satounki and on Komorebi, the tiling window manager for Windows that you see on my screen right now. Subscribe for more. We are... Oh, it did. It built in 2 minutes. That's great. We are at how many subscribers now? Why don't I go and take a look? Why didn't I go and take a look? We are at 977 subscribers, my friends. And thank each and every one of you. God bless your souls. Or if you are not a religious person, a God-believing person, may the universe bless your souls. Or if you don't believe in souls, may you be blessed. This means a great deal to me. If you've been following along on the channel, you'll know that I got laid off at, I think it was the 14th, the 15th of November, over like a 2-minute phone call at 9 AM with no notice. And I spent a couple of days spiraling, and I am applying for jobs. It's very hard. I haven't done a lead code interview since 2016, and now all the industry cares about is lead code, and I'm not very good at it, even though I'm very good at shipping correct, reliable code. And it's just been really tough. And when I got laid off, I was at about 500 subscribers. I just started making coding videos every day, live programming, talking about what I've been going through, and this number just kept going up, and more people started commenting and commiserating with me and thanking me for my videos and my tutorials, and it means a great deal. It is now, I don't even know what the date is today. Maybe it's the 6th. Let me see. It's the 7th today as I record this video. I think it's very likely that we'll probably hit 1,000 before the end of the year, maybe even before Christmas. It'll be a very nice Christmas present for me. I appreciate you all so much. So much. I love this little community we have, and in a very uncertain time, you have all made me very happy. I think that's one of the best things that you can do with your life, make other people happy. And you have all made me happier than I can communicate in words. I do also want to point out that this is the first video that I have recorded since I've been eligible for monetization. So, I'm not signed in on this Firefox profile, but there is a thanks button showing up now here if you are signed in. So if you would like to leave a tip on any of my videos, it would be very much appreciated. Of course, you can always subscribe, sponsor you can always sponsor on the GitHub too if you're a user of Komorebi, if you are going to be a user of Satounki. That would be also amazing. No expectations of this at all, but you know, even if you can sponsor for $1 a month, it makes a huge difference. But you know, the next best thing is always to smash subscribe, and once we get to 1,000 subscribers, I should also start getting ad revenue from all of the ads that play on, you know, all of my live programming videos, all of my tutorials, all of that. Alright, my friends, I hope that whatever you all do today, you have a great day. Free Palestine, and I'll see you all back here next time.